fine because I'm Gary131.
Yeah, you fucking are, you
Yeah,
sexy
that's okay.
beast. Mr. fucking OG. The original two-time fucking chomp. I don't know why you go all the way to the left-hand side either.
Huh?
Why are you going to the left-hand side when you exit Parabolica?
What do you mean, why do I go to the left-hand side?
You go so far left, you don't go closest run to the line.
Do you think there was anything in it?
Yeah. Couple of tenths. Every slight tenth you can nick, or hundredth or thousandth that you can nick, you want to get.
Absolutely.
Fucking hell, you take a lot of curb there. I definitely know a car that can, and that's the one leading at the minute.
He's going to get it off at turn 1, I reckon.
Who's that?
Cloud first one at lobby. And that means he puts him in front of all those that join late and can't qualify.
All right.
So he's going to be right sort of in the thick of all the battles of everybody else.
Fair Brett.
I say a little play for Jamal. For Clouden, for Clouden, for Clouden and for Clouden. Don't get Hugo in again. Aren't you meant to be in your Greasy Bandits teams, chat? Eh?
Who?
Tester in mine. Monkey Boy. In my chat. Ugh, terrible.
He's wank these days.
I know, even Sooty beat him. Imagine racing DJ Phil around Laguna Seca, you know what I mean?
That's better!
Really, boy.
Much better, Dad.
Thanks,
That's the
Dad.
line I want to see.
Yeah, I know, I nailed a Scary.
Shut the fuck up, Matt. It's not all about you, you fucking cock.
Weren't they? Whoops.
Too soon?
Never too soon.
I think we've got a topic, a point to bring up on Thursday night, maybe. Especially reverse grid.
I'm not the fastest anyway, so don't worry about it.
So just cut that second chicane. I've heard that's the line done. Mirko Ritchie were telling me.
Yeah, let's not get into that conversation, shall we?
Yeah. It's like bringing up somebody from the Formula One.
Who?
Max Verstappen.
Oh.
Fucking cunt!
Now you're starting to take a couple more limits. Right. Get over to the right-hand side. Stop being in the middle of the fucking road. Get over to the right. Get over to the fucking right. Get over to the right. Get over to the right. Good lad. Fuck me. Never seen someone sit so much in the middle of the circuit.
I was going to say, it's way so hard to overtake.
To the line, to the line, to the line, to the line. Get over. That's it.
No, I didn't take a cleaner Scary there.
There we go. Half a second found. Now you're on the pace. Right, that's my job done. I'll catch you all later.
Later's done.
Speak to you on the podium.
Love that.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Simplay Motorsport. My name is Dan Davis, and I'll be bringing you all the action here live at Monza for the next round of the championship. As I just try and get myself all sorted, I'm ready to go. Just kind of give it a wow. I was just helping my old father out with a bit of training there. But welcome to the next round of the championship, round 10, 11 and 12, round 4 of the GT4s, and we are live here at the Temple of Speed for the next race of the season. And tonight we're going to be seeing a lot of cars going to be trying their absolute hardest to score as many points as they possibly can. Reminder of the format this evening. Nice to see you in the chat, Will Friedman, who is currently sitting third at the moment in his Porsche Cayman. But a quick run through the championship standings. It looks like this. Matthew Duffin is still leading the way with his Mercedes-Benz with 415 points to his name. In second place is Will Friedman, 66 points behind him on 349 points. Then it is Skunky, who's having a very good pro season now. He's got a bit of things on a roll. He's looking very strong in the GT4s. He's on 321 points in 94 points behind. Let's get on board with another driver. Fourth in the championship is Ian McGowan. He's 290 points, 125 points behind, with then Jamal Clouden in the Chevy Camaro with 271 points to his name. Then it's Diz sitting in P6 in the championship, 160 points for him. Hugh Darren in the Alpine in 7th with 207. Then it's Sam in the Aston Martin on 192 points. And then it is the Ginetta of Andy with 174 points, tied with Gary Leach as well, also in the Ginetta. Those top 10 drivers cannot qualify for the first session, and also the top 8 of that championship will be carrying the ballast as well. We go then to 11th place, which is Tipping, 171 points to his name, followed by Darren Bell in 12th position, 156. He's only 3 points ahead of Kieran O'Reilly, who's having a much stronger start to this part of the season. He missed a couple of rounds, I believe, earlier on, but he's now getting himself back in the fight. So he is currently 13th and 153 points. He's only a point ahead of KLF in 14th place position on 152 points. And in 15th place is the Porsche of old Sim Racer with 147 points, with Alpine Rob Smith and 142 points. Then we got Nuclear Waste on 136 with Dan Taylor in 18th on 132 points. DJ Phil in 19th with 129 points. Then we got Shane, sadly pulled out, obviously due to wheel issues. He's in 20th and will stay there until the guys catch him up, with Lucas in 21st. Sky Strondemeyer in 22nd. 23rd is Susie's Cream. 24th is Stardog. 25th is M. Collins. 26th is Rolo. 27th is Goudet. 28th is Matt Wright. Pontin is in 29th, John Andrews in 30th, Richard Beasley in 31st, and then Yoshi in 32nd. I've still got a few more yet to come in. So as we get things just underway here, that is your championship standings regarding the weights here this evening. Matthew Duffin is going to be carrying the 40 kilos, while Will Friedman carries 35 kilos. Skunky will carry 30. With Ian, who is not able to race this evening, would have carried 25. So then it's Jamal Clouden, who carries 20, and Diz will carry 15, Hugh Darren 10, and Sam with the 5 kilos. We have, believe, also a new driver as well. We have Rushton in the McLaren. It's the first time we've seen a McLaren here tonight. He will carry 20 kilos as well, due to being a new driver this evening. Those are your championship standings. This is Monza, and this is going to be a heck of a night's worth of racing. So make sure you do not go anywhere. Regarding the format here this evening, like I said, the first race, the top 10 in the championship will not be allowed to qualify. They will stay in the pits, while everyone else will have a 10-minute qualifying session to try and get themselves set on the grid. Obviously, when the guys join the lobby, that's really the kind of order the back 10 will be in. So a 10-minute qualifying session, then into a 20-minute sprint race. 3 of them to be exact. So we have the 20-minute sprint race first for race 1. And again, like I said, the drivers will be carrying ballast. Top 8 in the championship will have the ballast on board. And obviously, so will new drivers as well. Once that's done, they'll go into a second qualifying session with only 5 minutes of the qualifying session. So they have not got long to get out and put a lap time on the board. It's a kind of one lap shootout kind of aim for. Then there is race 2, another 20 minutes, and then the same again for race 3 and qualifying 3, 5 minutes. And that is the schedule here this evening. At the current stage, though, with all that weight on board, it is still Matthew Duffin who is setting the pace at the minute, with Jamal Clouded in second. Kieran O'Reilly sat in P3 position, with Will Friedman in 4th at the moment. Skunky sitting in 5th. Matt Wright going up to 6th, with Old Sim Racer sitting in 7th. Darren Bell in 8th. Tipping in 9th. And Andy rounding off the top 10. And that is how it's looking at the minute. As I will try and get a driver, that is, who is that in the final sector? It is Rushton. So we'll do a lap actually with Rushton around this circuit of actually, no, we're not. We're not going to, because I've lost him now. Where is he gone? Where is he gone? Where is he? There he is. So as we head... Wow, this car is very loud. As you head down towards turn number 1, we're going to start braking at 150 meter board, dropping all the way down to first gear. Rushton just getting his brakes a little bit too deep there as he runs a little bit too deep into turn 1. Making sure he gets a good exit out of the final corner and then head down towards turn 3 and 4 around the Curva Grande. Once again, getting up to top speed, these GT4s are going to be stressed quite a lot. Slipstream is going to be a massive key around here as he then breaks it to the second chicane into the 150 meter board, dropping down to second gear, trying to run the first curve as much as you can, but avoid the second curve to get a good exit to then head to the first of the... I've even forgotten the names of these corners now. But into the first Lesmos, into Lesmo 1 and then into Lesmo 2. It's been a while since I've driven Monza. Making sure you carry enough speed into Lesmo 2 and then getting a good exit down, heading down towards the famous Ascari chicane. Heading underneath the bridge now of the old banked circuit, heading up to the very tricky Ascari, braking just under the bridge, get it turned into third gear, get a good run through there, keeping the speed through Ascari, try and abuse the inside curb as much as you can and work your way out of Ascari chicane, and then heading your way down towards Parabolica. If you're up throughout this whole session, you are more likely going to try and keep it all together, but Parabolica, you can lose it just at the end, just at the 50 board. Try and get the car to turn in, be patient on the throw, and as soon as you have the chance, get the foot down, let the car run wide naturally, and then get it tight into the inside of the corner to make the shortest run to the line. And that is a lap of Monza around this fantastic circuit known as the Temple of Speed. So out on track, here we go. We've got KLF currently out on track. Rushton as well. I believe Darren has also gone out on track. Yes, he has. A few other drivers we still have on track. We've got Friedman also out on track. I believe we've got the 135. Yes, that is Matt out on circuit as well. And I believe those are the only cars that are currently circulating at the minute. But it is Matthew Duffin setting the pace at the moment, but obviously it is ideal to start with good pace now, but obviously can he carry that weight on board while he has to patiently wait in qualifying? Remember, guys, if you head down into the description button, you can see our fantastic sponsors, Design Manchester and also Audio Sport as well. Design Manchester produces of vinyl graphics, laser engraved gifts, mugs, printed clothing, and much, much more, including Simplay merchandise. There is a Facebook page as well, so give that a like and follow on there. And then you've got Audio Sport, manufacturers of VW Transporter T4 audio solutions and styling products. Head over to www.audiosport.co.uk, and they're also on Facebook as well, so have a look on there as well. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell to be notified. We've got a long weeks of racing here at the Temple of Speed of Monza. Tomorrow night we will have the Pro-Ams, where myself and Matthew Duffin will be bringing you all the action from them, and then on Thursday night will be the return of the pros, and they will also be getting out on track to take on this very, very simplistic circuit, but very challenging one at that. Very easy to learn, very difficult to master. I like to think of Monza. So a couple of stats as well, just to look at. Most succesfuls around here is probably Fury and myself, with 2 pole positions and 3 race wins between us. Holty's also up there with 3 pole positions and 2 wins, while Matinovic has had 2 pole positions and 2 wins. UKIP the Ripper with 1 pole and 2 wins to his name as well. GG Jimbo's had 2 wins, DJ Phil's had 2 wins, and Gary131 has also had 2 wins, multiple pole positions as well. Regarding GT4, Beasley has got a qualifying ban and start from the bat, but he is not here. He's still having issues with his with his Xbox. Milestones: Aston Martin just need 4 podiums to make it their 50th. Matthew Duffin's 1 win away from his 50th. Mercedes needs 2 wins to make it to his 100th. Gary needs 3 podiums to make it his 100th. And DJ Phil will start his 400th race tomorrow night. He won't do it this evening. McLaren needs 7 wins for 100th. Lap record here, obviously done on... Well, I'm not actually going to read them because they are irrelevant because they're on the wrong game. But nonetheless, guys, hit that like button and subscribe. Hi, Max Mulder in the chat. Nice to see you here, buddy. And we will get things underway in a few moments' time. Gary Leach crossing the line as he does manage to get into the session. Not quite enough practice laps for him, but we shall see how this all pans out as we now head into the qualifying session. Will Friedman in the end does go fastest. He does a 57.2, taking the bragging rights after qualifying.
Green light. Go, go, go.
Sorry, after practice. We are now into qualifying, and reminder as well, the top 10 in the championship cannot go out and qualify. So in that case, it is Matthew Duffin, Will Friedman, Skunky, Ian, Jamal, Diz, Hugh Darren, Sam, Andy, and Gary Leach. Everybody else can go out and qualify. Lucas already crossing the white line on pit exit there. But everybody else is free to go out and qualify. Who was the first one out? I believe it was Lucas, the first one out. Rob Smith actually missed the chicane. So that's the one way to warm up the tyres. So let's have a look. So Riley possibly one to look out for in this one. He looked pretty quick in the practice session, as I will now get a poll going. I have been trying to spell his name correctly. He'll probably tell me I'm wrong, but yeah, I'm trying my very best here. But nonetheless, we will get this poll up and going for you guys to get who you think will take pole position. Only 10 minutes, so these guys have got a decent amount of time to get a lap time on the board. And right now, there's a couple of guys racing for track position at the minute. But it's going to be Lucas who's going to be the first one to set a lap time. And KLF looks like he's just trying to sit in the slipstream. Feels really weird to be the only McLaren. I believe, Rushton, you can go out and qualify if that's you in the chat. The TMX feels really weird to be the only McLaren. Yeah, the GT4 McLaren doesn't actually seem to be very popular. It's also like the Ginetta, the Mercedes, and the Porsche. Aston Martin as well seems relatively popular here as well. But either way, Lucas is going to start the pace here as they head up towards turn number 1. So KLF didn't want to get too close to the back of Lucas. He still wants to get the benefit of the toe, but don't affect him too much in the corners. But this is what's brilliant about these cars. They can go wheel to wheel, and they're going to be fighting for that toe all the time. Okay, if that's what some of the admins have told you, then fair play. Thank you for following their instructions. That's very kind of you, and it's nice to see. So again, like I said, the toe is going to be very important, not just in qualifying, but also in the race. As we see there, Lucas taking a lot of grass there, possibly may have invalidated his lap time, and he's definitely invalidated it now as he's gone round. KLF avoids him, and into the wall he goes. So it's now going to be KLF who's going to set the pace here. And he's got Rob Smith not too far behind him, so Rob Smith's going to be getting a slight toe on the back of that Ginetta, and the Ginetta's going to struggle with tonight, as will the Alpine as well. Their straight line isn't very good, obviously being a very small, nimble car. They're going to be very good in the corners, especially corners like Ascari and into Parabolica and into the Lesmos as well. But it's all going to be about straight line advantage. And I think all the Ginettas and the Alpines would need to do is just sit in the toe. The Mercedes and the Chevy are going to be very, very powerful around it, including the Astons and even that McLaren as well. But either way, KLF is going to set the first representable time here as he comes to the line. And it is going to be a 59.4 from him. What does Rob Smith do? He's currently 7/10 off the pace. Now I'm going to try my very best to see what car is coming up. 63, that is old Sim Racer to the line. And he will go fastest with a 59.3. We got the 125 or 135. Yep, that is Matt Wright. He goes now top of the session, followed by the 171 of Rolo. What can he do? Currently 7th at the minute in the order. Tipping went second in the end. And Rolo, no lap time on the board. 7:41 is next to the line. That is Stardog. He has got another Alpine following up behind him. I believe that is Dan Taylor. And Stardog goes up into P4. Obviously, Susie's Cream going up into P3 as well. So times are coming in rapidly now. 74, that is O'Reilly. He did not get a valid lap time on the board as Matthew Collins now comes to the line. He goes P10. At the minute, the track is still set to fast, so we are still expecting some more grip to be found out there, as he always start to just rubber in the circuit a little bit more. Lucas, after his little moment, is got going again. We are going to look to Darren Bell next in a strong Mercedes-Benz. Very powerful car, and as you can see already, the Aston Martin of Matt Wright taking the top of the board. And like I said, it's going to be all about that grunt around here at Monza. To the line now comes Darren Bell, and he goes into P4. Good lap time from him. We now go back to the leading car that has been setting the pace early on. It is KLF in the Ginetta. The number 22 driver trying to get a good exit out of Parabolica. Not too much to the back end, starts to slide. The shortest run to the inside to the start finish line. And here comes KLF, currently 1.5 off the pace. Did he find an improvement? No improvement there from him, nor did Rob Smith, as they are going to start coming in thick and fast. Old Sim Racer next to the line. He doesn't improve either. Tipping currently 9/10 off. Can he bring that gap down ever so slightly? No, he cannot. Matt Wright still top of the table. He doesn't improve either. Well, we got the 171 of Rolo. Has he managed to get a lap time on the board? He comes to the line. No time, so he needs to get that lap time on the board. Otherwise, he's going to struggle to get through the pack, as Stardog now goes up to the top, and it's Dan Taylor next to the line. He does not improve. He stays where he is. We're still waiting on O'Reilly to put a lap time together. Here he comes to the line. Still no lap time from O'Reilly. So it's still Matt, still top of the session, and I'm going to end the poll there. Good evening, Fat Bloke in the chat. Majority reckon that O'Reilly's going to win this one, or put it on poll, and at the minute he can't get the lap time together. So I think that is the 64 coming into the final set there. That is Darren Bell. And once again, I think Lucas has had another moment. Is he going to get a lap time on the board? No, he does not. So away he goes. Most of these guys were probably fueled enough for the entire session. So Darren Bell next to the line. Currently 6th. Can he improve? He does. It just goes up to 5th. Looks like KLF has had a moment somewhere. He's ended up dropping behind Rob Smith, so this lap is going to be irrelevant. But is he going to be trying to get a little bit of toe off the back of that Alpine? But Rob Smith now running a little bit wide out of Parabolica. And Rob Smith now to the line. Is he going to improve on 10th place position? He does not. KLF right in his slipstream here. This is going to be the one and only lap. KLF too close by the looks of things, I think. It's going to hurt his lap. Tipping now, coming to the line. He does not improve. Where is O'Reilly? He's only now going through Ascari, so he needs to get a lap time at least on the board, or he's going to be down with a lot of the top guys. Dan Taylor coming into the chat. Fat bloke. Also is Sam, not fat bloke. Good evening, Sam, and good night to all, and good race, guys. With a wink face from Gomez in the chat. Dan Taylor does not improve. Is O'Reilly finally on a lap time? Yes, he is, and it probably put him top. Yes, it did. He goes top of the session. Matt Wright back into the pits. He don't think he can improve. Stardog back to the pits. He don't think he can improve. Nuclear Waste now goes to P4. Anyone else on a lap as Darren Bell runs wide and makes a mistake. Here comes Lucas now into the final corner. All he needs to do is get a lap time on the board. That's all he needs to do. Just to get himself at least ahead of Clouden going into the start of this race. Will he do so? Yes, he does. And it puts him 9th as well. So good lap time there from Lucas. Meanwhile, Rob Smith and KLF have been close to one another. KLF sitting in the slipstream, and I think KLF might have invalidated his lap time. Yes, he has. He's not going to make the line either, so he is done for qualifying. He will no go higher than 11th place position, although Rob Smith was on a lap as well. He moves out of the way. He was done as well, and KLF is going to be the first one to complete a lap, but he is not going to be a valid unless I am wrong. There's also the 60, I don't know who that is, 60 something, 62. That is Old Sim Racer, and KLF back to the pits. Old Sim Racer currently sat in 10th place position. He goes up to 6th place, finding a little bit more pace under the car. 420, that is Susie's Cream next, coming up to the line. Still though, O'Reilly setting the pace, and I don't really think anyone's going to threaten him here. O'Reilly looking like he's going to take pole position here at Monza. So out of Parabolica comes Susie's Cream. To the line, and he goes up to 7th place position. O'Reilly, can he improve on his time? He does not improve. Who is that coming to the line? That was Nuclear Waste. He goes into P4, doesn't really find any improvement. It is the 280 of Lucas, and then the 64 of Darren Bell. And this should be an interesting race one with the grid really muddled up here. O'Reilly on pole position. Matt Wright, though, looking quite confident in that Mercedes, in that Aston Martin. The Ginettas and the Alpines are going to get mugged in a straight line, let's put it that way. Lucas does improve and goes up to 9th place. It is just Darren Bell left to complete a lap. And here comes Darren, exiting the final corner. To the line he comes, and he stays in 8th place position. But it's Kieran O'Reilly who takes pole position ahead of Matt Wright, ahead of Stardog, ahead of Nuclear Waste, tipping in 5th. Old Sim Racer in 6th. Susie's Cream in 7th. Darren Bell in 8th. Lucas in 9th. 10th is Dan Taylor. KLF in 11th. Rob Smith in 12th. Matthew Collins in 13th. And Rolo in 14th place position. Jamal Clouden, Sam, Rushton, Andy, Matthew Duffin, Skunky, Darren, Friedman, and Leach all did not qualify due to the rules and regulations. So while these guys are getting ready with their setups, reminder, it's only a 20-minute race. There's no pit stop required as well, so they're going to be going flat out from lights to flag. Let's get a race one winner prediction in, shall we? Let's hear you guys in the chat. Let's any conversations you want to have. I will try and answer them as best I possibly can. Yeah, are we looking forward to a week's worth of racing here at Monza? temple of speed, because I sure am looking forward to it, not just as a racer, but also as a spectator. Usually causes a lot of drama in the open lobbies, but this circuit has produced some fantastic racing here at Simplay Motorsport. Some come to mind where I remember in the very early days on the Project Cars days, we had Gary Leach overtaking a car right on the last lap in Parabolica in the final corner, and Matt and Andy of the time pretty much lost their voice after that. It was a brilliant and dramatic move from him. We had KLF defending heavily in the Lamborghini around here as well. We also had DJ Phil taking, I think, his first ever win here at Monza as well. It has been sometimes people's best circuit, others people's absolute nightmare. But we have lost 2 drivers to the grid. Andy and Hugh Darren will both be starting from pit lane. Not the worst thing in the road, especially around here at Monza. But guys, there is your poll. Who do you think is going to win this first race? We have got O'Reilly, Wright, Stardog, and Nuclear Waste. If you don't think it's any of those guys, then feel free to put in the chat who you think it is as well. And as these guys work their way around, I will also pop up the calendar. So here is the calendar for this season. Season 3 of the GT4s. We've already done Bathurst and Mazzano. Sadly, we could not race at Kyalami due to server issues on Xbox's side. We then did Laguna Seca. We are now here at Monza, the final Italian race of the season. And then we start headed to the midpoint of the season and then work our way to the back half. Round 6 of the season will be Snetterton on Bonfire Night. With round 7 will be Barcelona. Round 8 will be at Valencia. The 2 Spanish rounds, one after the other. Round 9 will be at Suzuka, and round 10 will be at our second and last stop at the American Circuit of the Americas. And then we finish things off a double header in the United Kingdom with Autumn Park setting things off and Donington Park to end the season off into our Christmas period. And that is your calendar for the GT4s and also the GT3s. So a reminder as well, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell to be notified. We do have one more endurance race left on the season as well. We make our final stop in the Endurance Championship on the 16th of November. It is Bathurst Mount Panorama for the final round. It does say 6 hour, but we might drop that down due to we've had issues with the server, but we will end up having a new time set for Bathurst. And then obviously as well, if you do like what you see here at SimMotorsport, you do want to be a part of the action, and head over to our SimGrid, head over to our Discord as well to be a part of the action here. And when you do sign up, you can also be a Patreon support. You pay just £3 a month and you reserve a preferred number of your choice, and nobody can use that number. Priority on sign-ups and events as well, so you get first priority. You also get a track suggestion this season, as did Insert Coin is one of our Patreons, so thank you very much for him, as he obviously then selected Misano this season. You also will get a little bit more push on the Instagram and Twitter and Facebook pages as well, with pre-season promos, images, and also you'll get all your social medias automatically linked and posted in the Discord so everyone can know when you are live. But that is the Patreon if you do want to be a part of that, as they are now perfectly set up one by one as we now get things ready for the first race here tonight. It is O'Reilly and Wright on the front row. Ginetta and Aston, 2 British manufacturers on the front row. One with a big bulky engine and one that's small and agile. Who is going to win the first race here tonight? Let's hear you guys in the chat as we're about to get underway here for the first time at Monza, as we now wait for the green. We are now green and go at Monza as they all fan their way out down towards turn number 1, the first chicane. And already they're all trying to get into the slipstream positions. Down towards turn number 1, we're seeing quite a few moving from the background as they try and break into turn number 1. Let's keep this relatively clean if we can, boys, as negotiate the chicane. Tipping's gone round. He's made a mistake. He's the first one to be capitalised here at Monza, but O'Reilly's got a clean run and exit out of the corner as they all try and work their way through the chicane as they all do so. Jamal Clouden seems to have had the best start of the back runners. Skunky and Will Friedman not the best start. Gary Leach has had a strong start as well as Andy and Darren get going. But it's O'Reilly leading the way as Darren Bell goes bouncing over the chicane. Old Sim Racer has to straight line the chicane as well as these guys are all going to go 4 wide, no, 2 wide now into the first of the Lesmos. And Dan Taylor's just on the back of this fight as well. Who is that leading it? That is Stardog. And already there's a train starting to form behind Stardog as all the fast cars now try and work their way through as best they can as KLF is defending heavily from Susie's Cream behind him. There's cars going 3 wide down the straight. That is Gary, Clouden and Duffin going 3 wide, and KLF's in the front of all this as Susie's Cream trying to find a way through on KLF but can't find a way through. Gary goes around the outside of Susie's Cream, and there is the Gary Leach we know from old times in the Ginetta. He's a completely different animal and he has cleared Susie's Cream. He is on the move. Meanwhile, O'Reilly after lap 1 has managed to get away ahead of Wright as Stardog still leading Darren Bell and Nuclear Waste, who's got Old Sim Racer pressurising with Lucas and then Dan Taylor. Then it's KLF leading the mob of cars behind him, but Dan Taylor is now being hunted by KLF as well. Further back, Sam has worked his way up. We've got Rob Smith and Skunky and Will Friedman working his way up. Here comes Friedman down the inside of Rob Smith. He's in the tow and he manages to perfectly negotiate his way past the Alpine, and Skunky just being a bit braver on the brakes as they head towards turn number 1 once again, and they all manage to negotiate it very well. Actually, they are driving brilliantly. When Friedman does make contact there to Sam, and Sam goes round as they all work their way through that sector. Stardog now under some pressure from Darren Bell as they head down towards the chicane. Braking heavily into the second chicane. Darren Bell going deep again, struggling to make that corner and losing all the speed and momentum. Old Sim Racer once again having to straight line it as well as they're all driving particularly well at the minute. Nuclear Waste now ahead of Old Sim Racer, Lucas, Dan Taylor. KLF's pulling away from Gary Leach ever so slightly as the rest of the drivers work their way through the order. Cars running wide, pushing track limits as you can see here, but KLF looking quite confident to try and attack Dan Taylor here, but we go back to the front as Darren Bell was close to start off, but he seems to have lost that time. Old Sim Racer is trying to come at Nuclear Waste. Actually, it looked like Dan Taylor was pressurising, no, he's under pressure from KLF. KLF looking to the inside of Parabolica, can't quite get the run. He's got to be careful because here comes Gary Leach behind him, and Gary Leach pretty much pushing his fellow Ginetta driver. Dan Taylor under some immense pressure here as they head down towards the Parabolica. KLF's going to send it up the inside of Parabolica. Is he better on the brace? Yes, he is. And Matthew Duffin also looking to go up the inside of Gary 131. Gary runs wide. KLF's had a bad exit out of the Parabolica, and that's going to allow Dan Taylor up the inside. But here comes Matthew Duffin, the grunt of the Mercedes. KLF moves over to take the inside line. Matthew Duffin getting the slipstream. Matthew Duffin trying to force his way through, but he's managed to get the job done. Is he going to get the car stopped into the chicane? Yes, he does. And KLF bouncing over the curb there is Dan Taylor. Oh, Dan Taylor loses the back end ever so slightly. And there's more contact made between KLF and Dan Taylor and Clouden. So Matt got away with that kind of scot-free there. And Dan Taylor now been a bit of a mobile chicane. Gary 131 has cleared him now as a few cars go up ahead of him. That is Nuclear Waste, as we got Old Sim Racer, Darren Bell and Lucas all close together, with Matthew Duffin now catching on to the back of these guys. Meanwhile, O'Reilly and Wright have just pulled off in front. Stardog is not a million miles away behind them either. Where is Skunky? Skunky's now on the back of this fight. Will Friedman's dropped down the order massively as well, so Friedman's had some form of issue. But Skunky, though, is clearing Clouden now, so Skunky is moving his way forward as Clouden just stuck in this squabble at the minute, full of cars. And Susie's Cream once again looking to make a move on KLF, but can't quite get the job done. He's going to have to sit behind him a little bit longer. Matthew Duffin already clearing one of the cars in front. He's now cleared Lucas and now moves to Old Sim Racer. Lucas, though, for a second looked like he was coming back at him. There you go, Matthew Duffin running a little bit wide there, but he's in the slipstream of Old Sim Racer. Porsche versus Mercedes, and Old Sim Racer, I thought for a second looked like he wasn't racing him, but he's just sticking to the outside line. Matthew Duffin already looking to the inside to try and make the move. As Matt and Old Sim Racer go at it, Matt's missed his brakes massively there, and he has to concede that position. He did gain an advantage by passing Old Sim Racer, and he's gained a good amount of time there. I believe that was going off track and gaining an advantage in my opinion. Meanwhile, KLF has still got Susie's Cream and Clouden and Skunky right behind him. Dan Taylor's had a moment involving Rushton as well. Rushton has dropped down the order as Friedman now sets the fastest lap of the race. But Darren Bell has caught Nuclear Waste, as he's got Matthew Duffin right behind him as well. And Gary Leach also going with the leaders, as Darren Bell gets all over the curb there. And Matthew Duffin bouncing over the grass there, as Darren Bell tries to go wheel to wheel with Duffin. But Matthew Duffin gets the job done. Darren Bell's going to look to the inside of Ascari. He thinks better of it, though, and just sits behind the Mercedes driver. Next target for Matthew Duffin is Nuclear Waste, and then it's going to be a while to catch Stardog, who's got quite a comfortable gap. Matt Wright would be quite happy in second place as well. And now you see, just behind KLF, we got a three-way fight. Susie's Cream, Skunky and Clouden going into the Parabolica. Clouden on the inside, can't quite get the job done. No, both do Susie's Cream, but Skunky has a moment. He slides into the side of Clouden, and he loses more than anyone. And Clouden now moves up a couple of positions. He's up into 11th place. His next target is KLF. And meanwhile, Gary 131 looking to make a move on Lucas into turn number 1. Later on the brakes, and job done for him as Matthew Duffin's already cleared Nuclear Waste. Okay, left just ahead of Clouden as well. Nuclear Waste losing out to Matthew Duffin. Darren Bell now goes through as well. So Nuclear Waste just losing a little bit of performance here at this stage. And there goes Darren Bell once again struggling to make that chicane. But he manages just to put it up. Gary Leach now wanting to have a bit of this action. And they head towards the second Lesmo. Meanwhile, KLF is trying to defend from Clouden, who's right behind him in that Chevy Camaro. Chevy very strong in a straight line. Not the strongest, but it is very good in a straight line. Heading now towards Ascari chicane. He's on the outside, KLF on the inside. And Clouden's going to give it a very good go. KLF bounces over the curb. And Clouden makes contact with KLF, spins him round. And both of them losing out there. And Clouden giving him a flash of the lights. I think Clouden was a bit optimistic going around the outside. Lucas looks like
Halfway mark. Keep pushing.
looks a bit laggy there from Lucas as Gary 131 is now looking to make a move on Old Sim Racer as we now clear the halfway stage of this race. As the first race, Phil, if you read the timetable, you'll see as Darren Bell bouncing over the curb there, Gary can make a few places here if he gets his head down and try and work his way through the pack. As I thought, Matthew Duffin not really making any inroads on Stardog. Now he's cleared most of the pack. He's not really going to gain on the top three, who are quite comfortable at the minute. Matt Wright's been kind of there or thereabouts with O'Reilly, not really been hunting him down very much. As Nuclear Waste is actually still on the back of Darren Bell. You got this five-way fight. Old Sim Racer once again struggling with that second chicane. As I'll come off of Lucas because it looks like he's trying to lag out every now and then. But Gary 131 all over the curb there, sliding all over it. And then you got this monstrous set of cars, and we've got Clouden stuck behind KLF, and he's now learning very quickly that KLF is not the easiest car to overtake at all. Even in a slow Ginetta, he still puts up a big fight. We see there Will Friedman looking to make a move also on tipping going into the Ascari chicane. Job done, up a position. Nicely done there from Will Friedman. Jamal Clouden now has a better run out of Ascari on KLF. And KLF's making him go the long way around, forcing him to the outside of the circuit. And Clouden goes for a late dive there, and he's all over the shot, trying to find a way through past that Ginetta, as Matthew Duffin now says fastest lap of the race. But Matthew Duffin now setting the pace, off he goes as Clouden's now in the slipstream of KLF. This should be pretty much a done deal now. He goes up towards turn number one. Not much KLF can do there as the Ginetta just does not have the straight line of value, but he's missed his brakes. They've both gone deep, they've both gone wide, and KLF loses out there, and Jamal Clouden gets back on track. Meanwhile, Darren Bell has dropped the cars behind, but he's also dropped it himself. What has happened to the car behind? He was racing, that was Nuclear Waste. Nuclear Waste has dropped down the order. There he is. Gary's had a moment as well. He's dropped into this squabble as well. So Nuclear Waste has had a moment. And Old Sim Racer and Lucas are now onto the back of Darren Bell. So something's happened between Gary and Nuclear Waste, because they've ended up dropping behind the pack of cars they were in. And Susie Scream just ahead of this fight, and there is Susie Scream all over the grass. Sorry, it's actually Skunky who's ahead of this squabble. But Gary Leach right behind him. It's been intense racing here at Monza. And Skunky now trying everything he can to stay ahead of Gary Leach, who most of the time when I'm in the chat with him on a Thursday night, he loves this Ginetta a lot. He thinks it's a lot of fun. And there's Friedman now making a move on Susie's Cream. They'll exit the Parabolica. Gary Leach getting closer to Skunky, wants to get in his toe, get the straight line down. Matt has started to catch Stardog. He's just onto the back of him now, so keep an eye on that fight. Darren Bell now pulling away from Lucas there. We now move to Skunky, who's ahead of this Ginetta fight, and Will Friedman's now a part of this fight as well, as there goes tipping onto the gravel. He loses out there, and Clouden has to work for his way through this as Darren gets caught up, spins right around, and Clouden drops down the order, and Clouden returns to pits. That is a retirement there for Clouden. And Gary Leach still looking to make a move on Susie's Cream. Skunky, sorry, Susie's Cream's behind us. Gary runs wide. That's going to open the door to Will Friedman. He's going to look interested in this one. Looking left, looking right, but he can't find a way through there. Skunky, though, running very wide. Friedman looking at the second Lesmo there. And KLF looking to attack, tipping further back, but he's not quite close enough. Meanwhile, Skunky really putting the Aston Martin under pressure. Matthew Duffin's right on the back of Stardog. We'll come back to them in a few moments' time. But we're looking at Skunky attacking Nuclear Waste. He can't quite do it. Friedman looking to attack Leach, but he can't do it either. Matt, though, looking to the outside of the Parabolica. Don't think that 40 kilos is really doing enough around here. He said he was going to struggle with the 40 kilos. And as it shows, it's not really affecting him that badly. Meanwhile, Lucas caught Darren Bell up ever so slightly. And you can see there, Stardog is about to lose a straight line fight between the Mercedes. But while that was going on, Skunky has cleared Nuclear Waste. So Gary Leach just dropped behind Susie's Cream and Friedman. So just so I go and watch another fight, something else happens. Meanwhile, Skunky is under pressure from Nuclear Waste. The Genetics still a little bit slow in a straight line. Then Aston Martin runs wide and runs wide again. And Will Friedman says, thank you very much. Now, Matthew Duffin's attacking on the inside of the second chicane. And he just about gets it stopped. But only just. But here comes Stardog back up the inside. He's going to get a better run into the first Lesmo. Matt's going to try and hold it strong on the outside, but Stardog stays to the inside and Matt gets the job done. A little bit more riskier than he probably would have wanted, but he does get the job done. He's run wide now. Now Stardog will get the straight line advantage here, and he'll start to go down towards Parabolica. Matt's run, and with the weight on board, should actually hurt him a lot here with the poor exit. Stardog gets a better run up towards the Scary chicane. He's later on the brakes as well, but Matt just chucks it in. He's going to run a little bit wide and bouncing all over the curb. But Matt holds on to that third place position. Old Sim Racer got a little bit closer to Lucas there. KLF still on the back, or was on the back of Tipping, but he's now dropped behind Andy, and now it's Andy's turn to have a go at Tipping. And Gary Leach now fancying a go at the Aston Martin of Nuclear Waste. So meanwhile, Stardog still stuck with Matthew. He's going to try and use his slipstream and attack him down the straight. Using that straight line advantage of the Mercedes, holding Matt in front. But Stardog in the slipstream is going to try and send it into turn number 1. He's not close enough to Matthew Duffin, who does go deep. That opens the door to Stardog, though. And Stardog gets a better exit. These two are having a great little scrap right now. And Stardog's going to go around the outside if he possibly can. Don't think that Porsche's got enough of a straight line advantage here to really give Matthew Duffin a headache. But Matthew making his own little mistakes, running deep into corners. Has he run deep again here? Oh, Stardog's made a mistake himself, and that's that fight done and dusted. Old Sim Racer getting closest to Lucas again. Gary Leach back on Nuclear Waste once again. And then you've got Skunky and Friedman going at it, two of the championship contenders. Meanwhile, Nuclear Waste had to go straight on at the chicane. He will have to eat that time back. But Gary Leach not able to capitalise on that one. Sam is onto the back of Matthew Collins. KLF has found his way back on Andy. And they're both still trying to find a way on Tipping at the minute. Meanwhile, Skunky and Friedman are going at it as they head down towards Ascari. Up the inside goes Friedman. They go side by side. Skunky has to yield this one, and Friedman goes through in the Porsche. Great job there from Skunky. Leader now starts his final lap. Kieran O'Reilly, another race won. And another pole position and another race win looking like it's in his hands. Matt Wright, though, is kept in company for pretty much most of this race. But as they start this final lap here, it is O'Reilly leading the way from Matt Wright, who's missed the chicane massively there. Luckily, he's got a big gap. Third is Matthew Duffin. Stardog is in fourth. Darren Bell in fifth. Lucas in sixth. Old Sim Racer in seventh. Friedman in eighth. Skunky in ninth. Nuclear Waste is your top 10 with Gary Leach in 11, Susie's Cream in 12, Rob Smith in 13, Tipping in 14th place position with KLF and Andy 15th and 16th. Matthew, Darren now in 17th, ahead of Matthew Collins, ahead of Sam, ahead of Rolo, and Rushton in the pits, Clouden in the pits, and Dan Taylor as well. All those are retirements. So the fights have pretty much kind of neutralized here. The closest fight is probably this fight right now, KLF and Andy fighting out for 15th place position as they head to the chicane. It's Andy better on the brace as KLF tries to negotiate the second chicane as best he can, as Tipping is right there. Meanwhile, Darren in the background is really hanging it sideways. Andy's going to go to the outside of Lesmo 1. He ain't going to get the job done there. KLF just gives him enough racing room as Andy comes back onto track, and there's contact made. KLF goes off and into the wall. Does KLF get going? He should do, really. But Kieran O'Reilly exits the Parabolica to take another race win here. Congratulations to O'Reilly. Matt Wright is going to finish with a very solid P2 to his name. Congratulations to him as well. And your championship leader, once again, scoring some decent points here tonight. It is Matthew Duffin who's going to finish in third place, and he takes the fastest lap. Stardog will finish in P4. P5 will go away of Darren Bell, ahead of Lucas, ahead of Old Sim Racer. Friedman in the end coming home in 8th place position, ahead of Skunky, and ahead of Gary Leach, who did manage to get Nuclear Ace just at the end, ahead of Susie's Cream. Rob Smith is then going to come home for 13th place position, ahead of Tipping. Then it's going to be Andy in 15th place position. Darren will finish in 16th. Matthew Collins and Sam running it right to the end. But it's going to be Matthew Collins from Sam, from KLF in 19th place position, and Rolo completing the grid here. But once again, O'Reilly taking the first race win here tonight. Matt Wright in second and Matthew Duffin taking that third place position. We're going to go and have a quick short break. They will have a 5-minute practice session, just enough so that we can all grab a comfort break and a drink. But we'll be back in a few moments' time. Don't go anywhere.
Green light, green light. Go, go, go.
Racing seasons. So here is the track calendar for the 200 kilometers events. We will start at the Canadian Osborne track, which was home for the Group C Championship in 1984 and 1985. For the second round, we shall travel to Germany to another motorsport statue and the 1985 event at Hockenheimring. The final round will take us to Japan and the Suzuka track, which trading from 1989 has become a permanent track in the WEC calendar. Thanks to the amazing voting teams, secure the spot for yourself or for your team in the FRL 200 Championship. This series is a prologue to the main entrance events called the FRL 1000, which will be a series of historic 1,000 kilometers endurance racing events starting in early 2025. You will find the sign-up link to the FRL 200 and our Discord link in the description. See you on track.
Shame on commentating.
Green light. Go, go, go.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Simpo Motorsport as we get our second qualifying back underway here at Monza. And this one is a 5-minute qualifying session as all cars exit pit lane, and they've only got this short 5 minutes to set a lap. Now, the idea of this is because it's so short and so difficult to get the job done, it should mess up the grid quite nicely. Most of the time, though, we have been proven wrong. But it's Clouden who's first out on track, who had a particularly poor race one. Was working up the order relatively well, but ended up getting caught up in a little bit of drama. Sorry, as I just have a mouthful of food as well. So your championship standings looks like this. Not much has really changed in the table. Matthew Duffy still leads away from Will Friedman. Skunky in third, with Ian in fourth. Clouden in fifth. Diz in sixth. Seventh is Houdan. Eighth is O'Reilly now. Sam is in ninth. 10th is Gary Leach. I nearly called him his brother Little Leach then. For some weird reason. Darren Bell in 11th and Andy in 12th. Tipping in 13th. Old Sim Racer in 14th with KLF in 15th. Rob Smith 16th. 17th is Nuclear Waste. Dan Taylor in 18th. Lucas in 19th. 20th is Stardog. 21st is DJ Phil. Shane in 22nd. Matt Wright in 23rd. Susie Green 24th. Sky Schonmeyer 25th. 26th is M. Collins. Rolo in 27th, John Goudet in 28th, Putin in Pontin in 29th, John Andrews in 30th, Richard BC 31st, Rushton in 32nd, and Yoshi in 33rd. So as these guys get themselves prepared and ready for this one, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. But it's going to be Clouden who sets the pace. Sorry, I just had a mouthful of food, but it's all good now. I say it's a short practice session just so the guys can grab something to eat or drink or whatever to freshen themselves up, and Clouden really pushing the limits here as he goes through Lesmo 1 into Lesmo 2 he goes. And he runs a little bit wide there. Will he have got track limits there? I do not know. But that Chevy's been looking very strong in practice as he heads up towards the Ascari chicane. You know, Rushton just behind is kind of a bit of a mobile chicane for everybody else at the minute. But Clouden with lovely clean air at the moment. A lot of cars still in the pits. Where is Matthew Duffin in all of this? He's slap bang in the middle of this group. He's stuck behind KLF. But into Parabolico comes Clouden. He's going to set the pace here as he enters the final corner. To the start finish line he comes. What's the lap time going to be? It's a 57.2. Meanwhile, Rushton to the line. What is he going to produce? He goes second, a second off the pace. Matthew Duffin goes into second, a 10th off. KLF also just off the pace there. Skunky, Gary Leach all finding some time here. Lucas crosses the line. No lap time on the board yet. Rob Smith puts a lap time on the board. Matt Wright goes up into 6th. Nuclear Waste goes to 9th now. Darren Bell goes 10th as the lap times start to come in. I believe that is Stardog just crosses the line as well to pop a lap time on the board. The 96 is Sam. He's exiting the final corner, and it's just O'Reilly and Friedman at the back. Will they get a lap time? Another lap time on the board. No, they won't. This would be their one and only lap. Is it enough for O'Reilly? He comes to the line. He goes P2. What about Friedman? He goes 5th. And that is the fun of the 5-minute qualifying session. You get pretty much one go at it, or two. So if you don't do it the first time, you're going to be out of luck if you don't get to the line quickly enough. And Clouden is on another lap. He is currently on pole position. Matthew Duffin is done for this session. But Clouden now going through Ascari chicane. Can he make any improvement on his lap time? I think he's pretty much got it secured, as everyone's quite closely packed in Ascari at the minute. One mistake by anyone and the whole pack loses out. But Clouden to the line. Is he going to make it a pole position for the Chevy Camaro? He exits Parabolica. To the line he comes, making the shortest run to the line. And Clouden extends the gap, does a 56.8. Skunky's the one to keep an eye on, as KLF also exits the final corner and he bails on his lap. He's not going to improve. Rushton doesn't really improve by much. Skunky's the one to keep an eye on. He doesn't improve either, as the guy's crossing the line. Matt Wright to the line. Does he improve? He does, and goes up to P4. And who else is still on a lap? Darren Bell is done, and that was Nuclear Waste just improving. We are now just waiting on Stardog now to cross the line. What is he going to be? He stays in 11th place position, but it's Jamal Clouden ahead of Kieran O'Reilly, Matthew Duffin, Matt Wright, Gary Leach, Friedman, Hugh Darren, Skunky, Andy, and Rushton is your top 10. The rest of the grid is Stardog in 11th, Sam in 12th, Nuclear Waste in 13th, Rob Smith starts 14th, Lucas in 15th, Darren Bell in 16th, KLF, the slowest of the timed runners, in 17th, Rolo in 18th, Old Sim Racer 19th. Tipping will start 20th with Dan Taylor in 21st, Susie's Cream in 22nd, and Matthew Collins 23rd, and DJ Phil at the back of the pack. A great lap time there for Jamal Clouden, putting him on pole position and hopefully keeps him out of trouble. As I will now get a poll going for this one. A very, very fast front end of the grid. And guys, if you think that any of the guys that I'm about to put up, you don't think will win this race, or somebody else will, then feel free to put your vote in on the chat. But it's definitely going to be an interesting race too. Make sure all the drivers have readied up. The last thing they want to do is not ready up in time. But there you go, guys. There's a poll for you. Who do you think is going to win this one? Now the question is, has everyone made the grid? Yes, we have. We are good to go racing here at Monza. And it is Jamal Clouden back at the front of the grid in the Chevy. And it has been a while since the Chevy has been on pole position in Simplay Motorsport. I'm actually struggling to think the last time he was on pole. Not sure what Matt's doing right now. Not sure what all those guys are doing. But it should definitely be an interesting race too here. Jamal Clouden on pole position. Another run through the grid. Kieran O'Reilly will start in second from Matthew Duffin in third. Matt Wright in P4. Gary Leach in P5. Friedman in P6. Watch out for him. He's got some pace in that Porsche. Hugh Darren in 7th with Skunky in 8th. Probably wanting more from that. Andy starting 9th with Rushton in a 10th place position. Stardog will start in a 11th place position, with Sam starting just ahead of his FBR teammate of Nuclear Waste for 12th and 3rd. Rob Smith in 14th, Lucas in 15th, Darren Bell in 16th, KLF will start 17th, 18th will be Rolo, Old Sim Racer 19th, Tipping is in 20th, Dan Taylor in 21st, Susie's Cream in 22nd, Matthew Collins in 23rd, and DJ Phil at the back of the pack. And Skunky High has been teleported back to pit lane. Has he forgot to put enough fuel in the car? Because it's just that there's no pit stop requirement, so he can't gain that time back through that. But like I said, guys, get your votes in on who you think is going to win this one. At the minute, 100% of you, which is only one vote, reckon it's going to go the way of Matthew Duffin. I think it's going to be a lot harder than Matthew thinks now, with 3 relatively strong cars around him, and Gary Leach also just wanting to sneakily work his way through the order as well. Friedman also going to be very strong as well. Keep an eye on Will Friedman, because he is a very, very fast driver in that Porsche. But like I said, guys, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And also, while you're at it, head into our description and you'll see our 2 fantastic sponsors, Design Manchester and Audio Sport as well. And their links to their websites and Facebook pages are there as well. Design Manchester produces vinyl graphics, laser engraved gifts, mugs, printed clothing, and much, much more. The perfect time for your Christmas shopping, including Simplane merchandise. Facebook page is there. Audio Sport manufacturers of Video eTransporter, T4 audio solutions, and silent products on www.audiosport.co.uk, and their Facebook link is there as well. So we got Jamal Clouden with the Chevy Camaro on pole position ahead of Kieran O'Reilly, who will start in 2nd in the Ginetta. We all now get in a 2x2 formation. We're about to get back underway racing here at Monza for the 2nd race tonight. 20 minutes, once again, no pit stop required. Who is going to win this one? Jamal Clouden needs to score some points back up. But as they now exit the final corner, we wait for the green here.
Green line, go, go, go.
We are green and go. 64, that is Darren Bell. Drive-through penalty for jumping the start. And it is Clouden versus O'Reilly as they head towards turn number 1. And already Gary Leach is on a charge. But he's backed out on Matthew Duffin. I think he's being a bit of a wet lettuce there, personally. But into turn number 1 we go. Clouden abusing the curves, and he's been tapped by O'Reilly, which slows the pack down. And Matthew Duffin's been tapped. He's been dropped down the order. Who Darren goes through, Gary Leach goes through, and there's all sorts of chaos further behind. Who else has been caught? Matt Wright's been caught up in all that, and multiple drivers have been involved in that incident. But it is Clouden ahead of O'Reilly, ahead of now, as Matthew Duffin is going wheel to wheel with Andy and made contact with Andy, and again Matthew Duffin and Andy making contact quite a bit through the 2nd chicane. But it is Clouden leading away from O'Reilly, from Leach, from who Darren Skunky has got going. And there's your top 4. But already Clouden under some immense pressure from O'Reilly. Oh, there is a McLaren off in the background. That is Rushton. Has he been made contact with Will Freeman? We'll have to keep an eye on that, but Rushton gets tapped out there as I press the wrong button. But Clouden under some pressure from the Ginettas of O'Reilly and Leach, who are both trying to work their way through the order. Who Darren right on the back of him as well in the little Alpine. And Andy still on the back of Matthew Duffin. Also, Will Friedman trying to stick with those guys. Lucas leading this whole bunch of cars behind as everyone else stays in order here. But Darren Bell will have to serve that drive-through within 3 laps' time. But Jamal Clouden leads. He's got the benefit of the really strong, powerful Chevy in a straight line and should be able to just pull away from the Ginetta behind, which he's doing so, but O'Reilly will catch him in the corners. And Jamal Clouden goes a little bit deep in turn number one, but you can see the Chevy could just abuse the curves. Heading towards the curve of Grande. Meanwhile, further back, there's cars still fighting out as they're all in relatively clean order here, as there's a car going off. I believe that might have been Sam. Yes, it was. He loses out to Matt right there, and Matt moves his way through. But once again, O'Reilly still pressurizing Jamal Clouden, who's just abusing the curves at the minute, and O'Reilly goes a little bit wide, gets on the gravel a little bit. So Riley waiting for any opportunity. This is where the Chevy will be struggling. It'll be understeering like mad right now. But he'll just put his foot down, and that Chevy should just pull away from the Ginetta. But O'Reilly's right there. He's pressurizing Jamal Clouden right now. Clouden having to go defensive, but he should have the grunt in a straight line, and that's what's going to save him here at Monza. And he gets into the corner first, and O'Reilly, though, still right on the back bumper, but he's using the power of the Chevy Camaro to break the wall. Meanwhile, what's happening further back, we got Darren Bell, who's currently in a fight with cars, but he's going to be dropped out of this fight relatively quickly, as he'll have to serve his drive-through. But it's Stardog ahead of all this group, and meanwhile, KLF is defending from Matt Wright. Matt Wright looking to the outside of the Parabolica. He'll try and get the cut back on the exit, but he's not able to get that job done there. Meanwhile, O'Reilly once again losing 3/10 to Clouden down into turn number one. Darren Bell once again needs to serve that drive-through relatively quickly if he wanted to stay in the fight. And oh, Andy and Friedman come together big time. It's Marcus Ericsson accident all over again, and Friedman does manage to get going, but he's got significant damage to his car and pulls away from Andy by quite a bit by the looks of things. So Friedman with major damage possibly to his car. That was a big wallop. And now Jamal Clouden seems to be getting into a groove. He goes a little bit deep through that second chicane, but he is trying to pull away from O'Reilly as much as he possibly can. Imagine what O'Reilly would have been like at the start of this season. He's looked so fast in that Ginetta. Yes, he's not had the weight on board, but he's still been looking very, very competitive. O'Reilly now on the back wing of that Chevy Camaro. He's looking to the inside this time of Ascari, but he's not far enough alongside. He's not going to get that job done, and he thinks better of it and waits for a better opportunity. Meanwhile, Gary Leach is still ahead of Hoot Darren, who's got quite a bit of pace in that Alpine and is looking to try and find a way through. Meanwhile, Friedman is on the back of this fight. Andy, Lucas, Stardog, Wright, KLF, Sam, and Darren Bell, who's got a major lag there. He'll be probably entering in the pits anytime soon. Nuclear waste from Rob Smith from Rolo. Dan Taylor's gone off. He's got a bit of damage to his car. Tipping goes through, as does Susie Cream and Matthew Collins. DJ Phil hanging it sideways there ahead of Rushton, and Skunky has now caught them, but they're all over the shot, and Rushton really laggy there as old Sim Racer at the back of the pack. Meanwhile, we go to Matthew Duffin and Hugh Darren as they head towards the chicane. And Hugh Darren's going to send up the inside. Gary Leach pretty much getting out of the way of Matthew Duffin there. And Darren Bell finally comes in to serve his drive-through. But once again, we've got Kieran O'Reilly and Jamal Clouden going at it for the race lead. Matthew Duffin now up into third. He takes fastest lap of the race. O'Reilly there just pushing the limits ever so slightly. What else is going out on track? We've got a three-way fight by the looks of things here. Rolo is ahead of KLF, and Matthew Collins. KLF looks like he's got a little bit damage to the front end of his Ginetta. So his car's been in the wars somewhere. And there goes off the McLaren again of Rushton. DJ Phil bounces over the curb and off he goes. And there as well is that nuclear waste gone off? Yes, it is. Bouncing over the exit of the Lesmos. But once again, O'Reilly right onto the back of Clouden. Gary Leach is right on the back of Duffin. But I reckon Gary would just sit in formation. He won't really threaten Duffin, I don't think. As Friedman is now onto the back of Hugh Darren. And Nuclear Waste dropping down the order. KLF now looking to try and make a move on Rolo. If he gets a good exit out of Ascari, he might have a go down at Parabolica. He's in the slipstream. He's looking for an opportunity. He's going to try and send it into the Parabolica corner, but he's got a little bit too much damage to the front end, and that Porsche just pulls away from him. But Rolo's gone very wide, very, very wide, and KLF will be like, thank you very much, I will take that position, and through he goes. Meanwhile, the top five still close to one another, so any one of these five could win this race. As Clouden leading the way at the minute from O'Reilly, from Duffin, from Leach, from Hugh Darren, from Friedman. So the top six really are all up for this. This how much is Clouden willing to defend from O'Reilly? He's just pushing it in a couple of corners, trying to get every inch out of this car as he possibly can. And again, O'Reilly gets right onto the back of that Chevy. It just does not have the grab, but Clouden's made a mistake. He's run wide. That's the opportunity that O'Reilly needed. And up the inside he goes. Job done. But that Chevy will come back at him in a straight line. And Jamal Clouden in the slipstream of the Ginetta. Look at it, gain and gain and gain and gain. He's not going to gain enough into Ascari. But he made one little mistake and O'Reilly capitalised. And that's what O'Reilly does very well. He done it to me at Kyalami. Just puts the pressure on you to make a mistake. And once you make that one mistake, he pounces. But he's going to be under some immense pressure, especially down towards turn number one. Already coming towards Parabolica. O'Reilly having to defend. And Clouden going wide. And that's probably a silly move there. He tried attacking into the Parabolica and should have got a better exit, so he had a better run down towards turn number one. Gary Leach is taking a very interesting line there, but Matthew Duffin now in the toe of Jamal Clouden, and that was the mistake he made. Matthew Duffin is now going to attack the inside of Jamal Clouden, and O'Reilly defends the inside. Jamal Clouden tries to be later on the brakes, and O'Reilly and Clouden miss the chicane. They both go straight on. And they just stay ahead of Matthew Duffin. Clouden yields the position to Duffin, and there goes Leach up the inside. So Gary Leach now on the podium. O'Reilly defending the inside of the second chicane. Matthew Duffin's going to try around the outside, but he's not going to get the job done. O'Reilly bouncing over the curb. Meanwhile, Will Friedman has now cleared Hugh Darren. O'Reilly's not had a great run through the second chicane, but he's going to stay strong on the outside. He gets the job done around the outside. And Jamal Clouden's been hit by Gary. Jamal Clouden's gone round. And O'Reilly all over the grass. Matthew Duffin up the inside. And Matthew Duffin pushes O'Reilly out wide. And Gary Leach follows him through as well. What has happened to Jamal Clouden? Has he got going? Yes, he has. But he's dropped down the order. Who's he dropped behind? It is Lucas. So he's down in 8th position now. And Matthew Duffin leads the race from Gary and O'Reilly. Will Friedman now onto the back of that fight. So has Gary been clever here? Has he allowed Matthew Duffin to do all the pushing and shoving while he's just sat behind and collected the positions and then try and get him right at the end of this race? Meanwhile, O'Reilly is still pushing. He's wanting to get back in front of these guys. He wants to try and score maximum points as he possibly can. As they head down towards the straight, O'Reilly in a tow of Leach. And Kieran O'Reilly already looking to go on the inside of turn number 1. Who's going to be bravest on the brace? Gary Leach staying in the tow, and Matthew Duffin, which is just keeping him ahead of O'Reilly for a minute. And O'Reilly just falls back into place. And Rolo has a moment through turn number 1. Meanwhile, Stardog under pressure, so Matt Wright looking to the outside, but Stardog misses his brakes. He's just going to get it stopped though, and he just gets it stopped on point, which is good job from him. Meanwhile, Rushton is now attacking KLF. Up the inside goes to McLaren. Easy enough done on Ginetta, who's got a significant amount of damage. Skunky's slowly been working his way up the order, and DJ Phil attacking Susie's Cream as well. But we go back to your leader, Matthew Duffin, pulling away from Gary Leach now, and also O'Reilly. Will Friedman's not giving up, and Hugh Darren's gone with them as well. So Hugh Darren's got decent pace at this stage of the race. And look at O'Reilly, once again so strong through the second second Lesmo, and he's attacking Gary Leach up towards the chicane. He comes, but he thinks better of it. And through Ascari chicane they go. I said Matthew Duffin just needing one more win to make it his 50th. Can he do it here at Monza in the Mercedes-Benz? That is the question. But Gary Leach is gonna lose out to O'Reilly here to the inside. O'Reilly have the shorter line, but it will cause him a more traction. But Matthew Duffin's moved over to the right ever so slightly, so that was going to give the advantage to O'Reilly. He's now moved back to the left, which is going to help Gary out with the tow. Who's braver on the brakes? Gary tries to be better on the brakes. He does get it stopped, just gives him enough room, and O'Reilly just has to fall back in formation. All this is doing is just allowing Matthew Duffin to just disappear into the distance. Into the chicane they go. And Will Friedman and Hugh Darren has just been there or thereabouts, but not been able to really do anything. Matt Wright, by the list of things, has cleared Lucas. Lucas is looking to come back at him in the chicane. He misses his brakes and is clearly going to go wide there. I'm going to come off him because he's very laggy. Rob Smith and tipping there. Rushton and KLF are still going at it. KLF's just on the back of him. There's no real fights going on down there. Friedman's still ahead. He's still ahead of Hugh Darren, but he's not really sticking to the guys in front. Gary's made a slight mistake through the Ascari chicane. He's going to be in the gravel, and that's going to allow O'Reilly a run through, and Gary Leach loses second place position. And there is Friedman ready to pick up the pieces. And this is what he was lingering around for. You can see the front of the car just starting to lift up where the bonnet is lifting. And Friedman looked to the inside of Parabolica. He's going to keep a tighter line. Gary runs wide. And Gary Leach now losing another position. Will Friedman gains a position, but they're still going to go side by side. Will's got damage to his car, so he's going to have to really send it into the chicane just to stay ahead of Ginetta. But they're still side by side as they head towards turn number 1. And later on the break goes Will, and he gets the job done. Who Darren wanted to be in the action but missed his brakes completely, and that's the straight line, the chicane. Wait, Who Darren's Will Friedman's dropped it. Was that contact with Gary? Yes, it was, and that's allowed Hugh Darren through. So Gary and Friedman coming together. Now, can O'Reilly do anything about Duffin? That is the question. So Gary's lost out to Andy now. Andy moves up a position. Hugh Darren gains 2. Is Andy going to try and take another one if he possibly can? KLF just lost out to Skunky. Where is Rushton? He's got major damage to his car, so he's back into the pits. A lot of guys just pushing the limits with the gravel. And Matthew Duffin was 1.7. The gap is significantly closer. It is 0.6. And O'Reilly now is within 0.6 of Matthew Duffin. O'Reilly's so much better through the corners, but he's made a mistake. He's hit the wall. Damage to the Ginetta. Can he keep it together? Keep it facing the right way? No, he can. Yes, he can. But here comes Hugh Darren. And Hugh Darren goes into second place position. O'Reilly just pushing too hard there, made a mistake in Ascari, and he has made a massive mistake and has dropped him down into third place position. Matthew Duffin now with a comfortable lead of 7.4 ahead of Hugh Darren, ahead of O'Reilly, who's actually lost out to Will Friedman. So that damage to O'Reilly's car has affected his straight line. Gary's going to try and send it on Andy up into the chicane. They make contact. Banging doors there. And Andy and Leach going at it, but O'Reilly, massive damage to his car, and it's caused him big points now. Will Friedman, though, gains from it, but the biggest gain out of all this is this man, Hugh Darren, coming through in second place now. All he has to do is keep it all together. Will Friedman's gone wide. That's going to allow O'Reilly to have another look at an opportunity, and Clouden has finally joined back onto this group as well. But he's ended up on the gravel and dirt, hanging it sideways behind his Clouden. And Gary Leach also in the slipstream of Andy, but O'Reilly's straight line has been affected with the amount of damage he's got to his car. You can see the bonnet just wanting to break away. 33 seconds left of this race. We still should have another lap to go here. But Hugh Darren is probably thinking it's his birthday today, because he's been offered a second place without having to do very much, and he's done a brilliant job at that. And Matthew Duffin will start another lap here at Monza.
Right, man. Leader is on the final lap. Give it all you can.
As Andy's had a moment, he's lost out to Gary Leach now, and Jamal Clouden is just on the back of Andy. And up the inside goes Jamal Clouden on Andy. Now Andy's going to come back at him and try to be later on the brakes. He'll be on the outside of turn 1, the inside for turn 2, and great side-by-side action there. No contact made, great respect gained, and Andy and Clouden go through those couple corners, and a brilliant job there from Clouden. He gets the job done. But Andy's coming back. Meanwhile, O'Reilly is just a sitting duck to everyone, because Gary Leach now goes through and gains the position. Clouden, though, still under pressure from Andy, who looked to the inside of the chicane but can't get the job done. What else is going out on track? We've got Lucas and Matt Wright. Lucas lagging all over the place, so it's difficult for Matt Wright to really race him. Skunky has been trying to catch Nuclear Waste and Tipping, who were close. Rob Smith's just ahead of them. But like I said, Kieran O'Reilly's just a little bit of a sitting duck. He's got mugged by Gary Leach. And up towards the Ascari chicane, there you go. Hugh Darren, brilliant drive from him, but Matthew Duffin working his way through the pack. And is on his way to take his 50th win here at Simplay Motorsport. Into the final corner he goes. He takes the win and fastest lap. Matthew Duffin wins race 2 here at Monza, ahead of Hugh Darren, who's going to finish in second place. A solid second place for himself. Congratulations to him. Will Friedman in third, Gary Leach in fourth, O'Reilly just hangs in there for fifth, ahead of Cloud and Andy in seventh, Stardog in eighth, Lucas in a ninth, Matt Wright will finish in 10th as they race to the line. Rob Smith will finish in 11th, just ahead of Tipping and Nuclear Waste. Skunky is just off the back of those guys. It's then going to be KLF finishing in 15th place position, ahead of Susie's Cream and DJ Phil in 17th place position. Sam is going to finish in 18th, ahead of Dan Taylor and ahead of Matthew Collins. And Darren Bell is going to finish in 21st after a drive through to his name. Rolo finished 22nd, and 23rd goes the way of Old Sim Racer as well. But that was Matthew Duffin's 50th race win to his name. Who Darren finishing in second, and third was Friedman. That is your top three. That is it for race 2. And once again, we're going to go for a short break as we get things underway for the third and final qualifying and race. We shall see you guys in a few moments' time.
Green light, give it all you can. Overtake. Fuck was that from Gary, man? That's twice now he's punted me.
out of second, 14 points behind Ferrari in the third place. PlayStation at 930 different vectors. Freeman DJ Phil, yeah. Fucking hell, come on, PS points, nice. Really? Flat big Daz. Did I GT photos? I think his girlfriend did it this weekend, so they're dirty. What do you mean? What do you mean I'm not even trying to? I've got a fucking sweat on. Blind Gary in holiday, he's got to put this in his car. I just assumed that Gary just moves on the way. He's never quitted. Gary, I know he's just quit.
Green light, go, go, go.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen, for the third and final qualifying session here. And just as the cars leave a pit exit, this is the championship standings. Matthew Duffin leading the way from Will Friedman in second. Third is Skunky, and in fourth is Jamal Clouden. Matthew Duffin's nearly got a 100-point gap to the rest of the cars, and then a 200-point gap over Jamal Clouden in fourth place. So he has really got this championship in the palm of his hands at the minute. It's really going to take a lot from these guys to start slowing him down. Who Darren, after a great race there, has put himself sixth in the championship with Dez in seventh. O'Reilly now up into eighth place with Gary Leach up to ninth. Andy dropping down to 10th with Sam in 11th. Tipping in 12th. 13th is Darren Bell. 14th is Old Simray Cest. 15th is KLF tied with Rob Smith in 16th place position, with Nuclear Waste in 17th. 18th is Stardog. 19th is Lucas. 20th is Dan Taylor, with 21st DJ Phil. Matt Wright in 22nd. Susie's Cream in 23rd. Shane's dropped to 24th, with M. Collins down in 25th. With Scottish Tonabella 26th. 27th is Rolo. 28th is John Goudet. 29th is Pontin. And 30th is John Andrews. Rushton in 31st. Richard BC 32nd, and Yoshi in 33rd. And that is the championship standings. Regarding the manufacturers, this is kind of pointless in my opinion. It's fascinating, but one of the more pointless championships that we have. Ferrari are leading the way still, even though there's no Ferraris here tonight. Ginetta is only 48 points behind, with BMW third. Fourth is Mercedes, fifth is Porsche, seventh is Aston Martin, eighth is Alpine, ninth is Lexus, 10th is Lamborghini. Ford is now out of the hunt, as is Honda, as is Bentley, and Nissan didn't even get on the way. And to all those who are interested in the console fight, P1 is Xbox. They have scored, all the Xbox drivers together have scored 7,308 points. They are near enough 1,000 points ahead of PlayStation. And to put that in mind, let's just have a look at this grid. There is only like 5 to 6 PlayStation drivers, while the rest are all on Xbox. So really not a fair fight if you're asking me. Again, we're into another 5-minute qualifying session here. And Jamal Clouden has gone out first. He's going to be setting the pace, as he was the first one into the session. He runs a little bit wide, getting on the gravel there, as Matthew Duffin's in a little bit of traffic here. But it's been a fascinating night's worth of racing here at Monza. We got plenty of more to come. We got the Pro-Am on tomorrow night with myself and Matthew Duffin bringing you all the action. And then it's the Pro Boys with Matthew Duffin and PN bringing all the action there as well. Clouden is going to set the pace, but just behind them you can see a squabble of cars. And I think leading it is Rob Smith. And now they're all racing as well. They want to get these lap times on the board. So do you risk your lap, your first lap, to then go for your second? Or, because you can see there, Matt has passed Andy on the back of Rob Smith, and they made contact. Matthew Duffin has hit Rob Smith. Rob Smith has come off worse there, and so has Andy. So Matthew Duffin causing a little bit of contact there, possibly, or possibly Rob Smith running wide and coming back on. It was difficult to see from that camera angle, but Matthew Duffin possibly with front end damage now to his car. And Clouden sets the pace over 57.3. Meanwhile, coming into those couple of corners now was Duffin. He has lost time there. Skunky has gone into third, and there goes O'Reilly to the top of the session. Lucas goes into P5, who's then coming to the line now. It is going to be Friedman who goes under P3, and he gets another lap time. So this is going to be interesting to see, as he didn't get one last time out. It is Matt Wright to the line next, and I don't think he actually put a lap time on the board. Yes, he did. He goes P3 in the end. So Matt Wright with a decent lap time. Gary Leach goes up into P3. Who else is going to put a lap time on the board? That was Nuclear Waste. He goes into P7 now with that lap time. DJ Phil goes into 10th place position. KLF opting to stay in the pits this time round, so possibly wanting to stay at the back of the pack. But that is the end of qualifying, so whoever crosses the line now, that is it. Their session is done. And to the line goes Stardog. He goes into 9th place position. So Riley setting the pace at the minute with Jamal Clouden in second, Gary Leach in third, Matt Wright in fourth, and Matthew Duffin down in eighth, being caught up with Rob Smith in that contact there. But Jamal Clouden's going to be the first one to come across the line with the leading bunch. We do have a car on a lap. That's the 171. That is Rolo. He gets a lap time on the board. And Jamal Clouden really pushing the limits there. He did keep that within track limits as well. Into the Parabolica goes Jamal Clouden. Is he going to steal that pole position back away? That is the question. And towards the line comes Jamal Clouden. He gets within 0.003 of a second. Matthew Duffin now towards the line. He goes pole as Skunky goes into fourth place. O'Reilly goes into second. Where is Friedman? He's bailed on his lap as well. It is Gary Leach and Matt Wright. Matt Wright's coming to the line. Matt does improve to go ahead of Gary. But Gary is on a lap and look like he's improving as well. Can Gary Leach snatch pole position right at the end here? To the line he goes. It is only P6. Nuclear Waste coming to the line. Doesn't improve and stays where he is. It is just DJ Phil now to complete a lap time. He goes to the line and he finishes in 10th place position. But Matthew Duffin taking pole position there. And that is that qualifying session done. It is Matthew Duffin from O'Reilly, from Clouden, from Skunky, from Matt Wright, from Gary Leach, from Will Friedman, to Darren Bell, to Nuclear Waste, from DJ Phil, from Stardog, from Lucas, from Rolo, from Rob Smith, from KLF, from Sam, and from Sam we have Andy, Old Sim Racer, Tipping, Taylor, Susie's Cream, Who Darren, and Collins at the back of the pack. Final race tonight, final GT4 race, and who is going to take the top prize tonight? And get your votes in as well. And like I said, every time we get into this part of the session, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Let's get as many likes as we possibly can. These guys have put on a fantastic show here tonight. It's been quite a dramatic night's worth of racing here at Monza. But nonetheless, it has been a fantastic way to start the week out in racing. They've still got some wet weather lingering around, but we shall see if that comes anywhere near the circuit for the Pro-Ams or even the pros. But there is a poll for who you think is going to win this one. But yeah, like I said, head over to the Discord if you do want to be a part of the action here at Simplay Motorsport. And like I said, like and subscribe as well to the channel. If you don't want to be a part of the action, head to SimGrid. And yeah, just sign up and get involved. We do have spaces available. Dan Taylor's not made the start. We still have places available. And Pro-Am is relatively full now. Pro, there's still places available, but you obviously got to be within that time bracket of it. If you do sign up here at Simplay Motorsport, then make sure you do your hot stints. Follow the rules and regulations. Give them a good read, as a lot of the drivers tend to not really read them very much. But please do read the rules and regulations, verify yourself, and you can be a part of Simplay Motorsport. I know you said Simplay Racing, completely different thing. But yeah, do all those wonderful things. Excuse me. So get your votes in on who you think is going to win this one. Let's hear from you guys in the chat. You've been relatively quiet here this evening. But, yeah. I'd like to hear from you guys in the chat. We will get your driver of the day as well later on. But we're about to get things underway for the third and final time here at Monza. And who is going to come on top towards the end here? We're only now into the second sector. It's been a fantastic night's worth of racing. Matt now getting his 50th win to his name. Starting to catch myself up in the stats. Actually, he's trying to catch Fury at the minute. Fury is currently second with 55 wins to his name. Matt is now on his 50th, and with Fury pretty much getting a PC now and disappearing off there, we will probably not see Fury anytime soon. Which is sad to see, but we do miss Fury. We'd like to see him come back, but obviously he's moved to PC nowadays. But we go into tonight, and Matt can add another win to his name, but that will start to creep him way up into the top two. A couple of names that are in there is Big Boy Brazier, a name we haven't heard in a long time. Overtaker with 30 wins to his name. Gary 131, 29 wins to his name. Max Mulder 26. Ripper with 25. Sutty with 20. Andy CWFC is still there in 17. James Ash with 12. Tim Benting with 11. Holty 11. Little Leach 11. Emo Guy 11. Mazda 10. Argent 10. De Silva with 10, and Amaze Gamer with 9. But Sky Shonamaya with 8 as well, one of the more recent ones as well. So those are a couple of the names that are familiar. But we now come into the Parabolica for the final time here tonight for the GT4s. We're about to get lights out and away we go here at Monza. It is Matthew Duffin from O'Reilly on the front row who is going to take the final win tonight as we now wait for the green. And we are green and go here as DJ Phil gives himself a drive-through penalty for the start as we head down towards turn number 1. And once again, O'Reilly with a fairly decent start on the outside. He's on the racing line, which is the grippier line. And Jamal Clouden right under the rear wing of Matthew Duffin as they're heading towards turn number 1. But O'Reilly around the outside. Skunky's gone with him. And it's a Ginetta 1-2. But there's chaos in the background. Who Darren ended up in contact with some drivers. But O'Reilly leads into turn number 1. And the Ginettas mob everyone else. In goes through Gary 131 around the outside of Jamal Clouden. And Darren Bell with a very good start as well on the back of these guys as well, as a lot of the drivers caught up. Will Friedman has dropped down the order as well. Where is Will? He's dropped to 13th place position. He's in the pack, so he's got mobbed at the start. But it is Kieran O'Reilly leading the way from Skunky, from Duffin, from Leach, from Bell, from Wright, from Friedman, from Waste, from Stardog, from Lucas, from DJ Phil, from Rolo, from Sam, from Rob Smith, from Andy, from Susie's Cream, from Tipping, from Old Sim Racer, Collins, KLF, Hugh Darren, and Dan Taylor bringing up the rear. And all the cars start to fan out down the straight as O'Reilly goes into a Scary chicane. Meanwhile, Matthew Duffin is pressurising Skunky, and Gary Leach is with him as well. Meanwhile, Jamal Clouden is just behind them also. Darren Bell just behind them. So it's a tight pack at the front, and Skunky has made a slight mistake. That's going to give Matthew Duffin the run down towards Parabolica. Skunky trying to be better on the brakes. Not quite, as Clouden goes up the inside of Gary Leach. Gary's going to try and be stronger on the outside of the corner, try and get the traction, but Jamal Clouden has much better grunt out of the corner as well, and he's going to be much faster than these two Ginettas. And he's already looking to make a move on Skunky. He goes to the inside and goes through Jamal Clouden, easily done with the straight line advantage from that Chevy Camaro. And Gary Leach is going to send up the inside of Skunky as well into turn number 1. Skunky gives him the racing room. Jamal Clouden goes a little bit deep himself, and Bell goes around the outside of Skunky as well. So Skunky got a little bit mugged there, left, right and centre. Meanwhile, further back, it looks like Lucas has made contact with Andy, which has caused all sorts of cars to go all over the shot. And KLF looking to try and make moves as well. He's working his way through the order, but he's got, again, damage to the front end of his car. Jamal Clouden has been passed by Gary Leach once again. So Gary just outfoxed Clouden there. But it's O'Reilly leading the way from Duffin, from Leach, from Clouden, from Bell, from Skunky, from Wright, from Friedman. And Nuclear Waste just on the tail with his dog. Rolo's had a great start in the 10th place position, as Sam leading the way from Rob Smith and Andy. Old Sim Racer, Susie Cream Tipping. Lucas has dropped down the order, and KLF more damage to his car as Hugh Darren's up the inside of KLF. And KLF looking for an opportunity to make his way back past Hugh Darren, but a lot of damage to the front end of that Ginetta is going to start affecting him quite badly. Clouden a great run through the Ascari chicane. That should really help him towards the run down of Parabolica. Is Gary Leach going to defend it? Yes, he is. Clouden's going to go the outside of Parabolica and try and get a better exit. If he's already out-braked Gary and going to stick to the outside, Gary's going to have a tighter line. And again, that Ginetta not got the straight line advantage to the Chevy Camaro, but they're going side by side at it. And Gary just starting to lose the pace in a straight line. Here comes the Camaro in a straight line. Gain a little bit of advantage from Matthew Duffin's straight line slipstream ahead as well, and just pulls away. Meanwhile, Matthew Duffin's caught O'Reilly pretty quickly in a straight line there, and O'Reilly now going to be under some pressure from Duffin. Duffin says fast enough for the race. Meanwhile, Wright has gone off, and Friedman has been caught up in some form of issue. He's now waiting for the cars to get out of the way. He selected reverse gear to try and get himself going once again, and he has managed to do so without losing too much time. But it's now Duffin and O'Reilly at it for the front. And Bell bouncing over curbs again, just trying to stick with the leaders as best he can. Nuclear Waste has dropped off, and Matt Wright is on the move as well. Matt Wright just sitting on the back of Nuclear Waste. And Matt Wright trying everything he can to try and capitalise on his fellow Aston Martin driver. Skunky's just dropped down the order to 10th place. Matthew Duffin trying to steer with O'Reilly, but O'Reilly's so strong in the middle sector where most of the corners are, and he's pulled a little bit of a gap from Duffin. Clouden now needs to try and get his head down and try and stick to the leaders as best he can. But O'Reilly, this is where he starts to lose the pace. It's 8/10 when they went into the second sector. We got a yellow flag. That is Andy, who's back to the pits. He's now retired. But O'Reilly exits the Parabolica. It was 8/10 the gap. Now they're coming down the main straight. O'Reilly crosses the line. The gap is 7/10, and that will get smaller as they head towards the chicane. Meanwhile, Nuclear Waste still under some pressure from Matt Wright. Skunky has now cleared Sam. He's now looking to try and capitalise on Rolo. What else is going on? Who Darren has cleared Lucas and Stardog. Matt Collins just on the back of that with KLF with damage to the front end of his car, which is hurting him significantly. So Clouden now dropping Gary Leach and now working his way to the leaders as we possibly can. Rolo just making a little mistake there, so Skunky gets a little bit closer. And Skunky trying to bring that gap down to Rolo. After the first sector, Matt did bring the gap down to 6/10. But once again, this is where the Ginetta is strong. Clouden is coming back to the guys in front as well. He's brought the gap down to less than 2 seconds. So Clouden's on the move. Matt Wright still can't find a way through on his fellow Aston Martin driver of Nuclear Waste, who's in front, who's dropped down the order. Not sure who it was. But this is a three-way fight between old sim racer Tipping and Susie's Cream. Looking left, looking right, trying to find a way through. Meanwhile, who Darren is being under pressure from Lucas. Lucas going to look like he's sending it up the inside. Nearly hits the Alpine, but gets away with it this time round. A bit of dirt kicked up there from possibly Tipping and Susie's Cream there as they're racing hard. But looks like O'Reilly has pulled a bit of a gap to Duff in 1 second. Clouden's dropped a little bit further back. 1.8 is the gap as they come across the start-finish line now. And O'Reilly's pulling away. Clouden's just maintained the gap, and Leach not really able to go with him at this stage. Darren Bell in 5th. Nuclear Waste and Matt Wright 6th and 7th. And here comes Matt Wright. He's in the tow. He's got a great opportunity to send it into turn number 1. He's going to go for it anyway. He wasn't far enough alongside, but he's going to get up the inside. He gets it stopped. Nuclear Waste gives him the space. Meanwhile, Tipping and Susie's Cream are going at it as well. But Matt Wright, has he got the job done? Yes, he has. He's up the inside, but Nuclear Waste will have the run around the outside. And they give each other room and respect here. And Matt Wright looks like he's got the job done, but Nuclear Waste is going to try and be braver on the brakes. He's going to give it a good go. Matt Wright gets to the apex first. Nuclear Waste having to lose out there. Meanwhile, O'Reilly has lost time, and so has Clouden. Clouden pushing a little bit too hard now. He just needs to get himself back into that groove and just wait for the pace to come to him. What else is going on track? We still got this great fight between old sim racer Tipping and Susie's Cream. Stardog in 14th. Meanwhile, Lucas is bouncing all over the place with lag again, with Hugh Darren and Matt Collins behind him. Rob Smith in 18th, and Will Friedman, more damage to his car. He's dropped to 19th place position, with KLF in that 20th position. DJ Phil 21st, Dan Taylor 22nd, and Andy has come back out on track. So Old Sim Racer tipping and Susie Scream is your best fight on track at the minute. Old Sim Racer's made a mistake. He's gone bouncing over the curb. He survives it through the chicane. He runs wide. Tipping has to avoid. And he'll get the job done, or will he? Yes, he will. Susie Scream now going to the outside. We are now at the halfway stage of this race. Here goes Susie Scream around the outside. He gets the job done on Old Sim Racer. And Old Sim Racer losing out the two Ginettas, finding a way through there. As we see now, Susie Cream right on the rear winger, tipping as he going to try and send it up into the chicane. He's in the toe, he's in the slipstream. Is he going to try and send it into turn number one? He's not really close enough as the two Ginettas balance themselves out as the Porsche catches them back up of Old Sim Racer. Much better in a straight line, that Porsche. O'Reilly now under some pressure from Matthew Duffin. Still 7/10 though from each other. And Matthew Duffin just trying to put Kieran O'Reilly under a little bit of pressure. Jamal Clouden runs wide further back. He's been given pressure by Gary Leach. Darren Bell not really close enough at this stage. Gary Leach trying to do everything he can to put Clouden under some pressure to make a mistake. And into the parabolica to go, and again Clouden just losing time to the cars in front as Gary Leach tries to put Clouden under some pressure, can't quite do it. Tipping and Susie's Cream and Rolo are still going at it. A couple of tenths separating them as the top two get within 8 tenths. Gary gets a couple of tenths of Clouden as well. And through the curb grande they go. Skunky has caught Nuclear Waste, so that's going to be a fight to keep an eye on. As I'm just popping in the driver of the day vote, I've got 4 drivers in mind that I think have been quite good this evening. Gary Leach not sticking with Clouden now. Clouden starting to put away a little bit, even though he runs a bit wide through the first Lesmo. And O'Reilly once again just starting to have the Mercedes get a little bit bigger in his mirrors. Not quite enough for him to worry about just yet. As they head up into the chicane. And O'Reilly still ahead of Matthew Duffin. Much stronger in that middle sector than Matthew. And again, Gary looking a little bit more competitive now in his Ginetta, looking to try and hunt down Jamal Clouden right at the end here. And again, this is where we hear Matthew Duffin just get a better exit out of Parabolica. The gap was 1 second, and the grunt and the Mercedes helps him out. 9 tenths now the gap, and it's just ebbing and flowing between the two. Gary's had a great run through the Parabolica and gets within 4 tenths of Clouden, but that grunt will help him out. Skunky meanwhile has pulled away from Nuclear Waste. Can he do anything about Matt Wright? That is the question. Tipping and Susie's Cream still going at it, and Stardog has caught Old Sim Racer as well. So that's going to be a close fight between those two. Lucas and Rolo have cleared spaces there. Will Friedman has passed Rob Smith. And DJ Phil has passed KLF. KLF with some significant damage to with Dan Taylor now. So they are having a fight of the most damaged car at this stage. Now Matt got within 4 tenths of O'Reilly. Can O'Reilly keep his cool and stay in front? The two behind just don't have the pace of the leaders in front. We've had it pretty clean so far, not been racing each other too hard. But Clouden and Gary have been pushing quite hard between one another, and it's just dropped off the back of the two in front. Gary Leach literally pushing the Camaro now, but in this sector, that's where the Ginetta is so much stronger. Stardog has cleared Old Sim Racer as they go into the second chicane. And Gary Leach looking to make a move on Jamal Clouden. As I will now post the driver of the day. You can vote on who you think driver of the day, and if you don't agree with any of these guys, then feel free to put your comment in the chat. But Gary Leach now trying to get a little bit closer to Jamal Clouden. O'Reilly runs a little bit wide out of the Parabolica. And Matthew Duffin trying to bring the gap down, 6/10. Leach not quite close enough on this lap. Susie's Cream is on the back of tipping, but not close enough. Riley has to defend the inside of turn number one. Matt's going to try on the outside of the chicane, and O'Reilly a bit kind there, giving him the space and respect, but he keeps it strong on the outside. Better grip from the Ginetta and pulls away from the Mercedes. But Matt is there. He's going to have the grunt going down towards the second chicane. O'Reilly's going to stay strong on the inside. Matt's going to try the outside again. He's going to try and outbrake the Ginetta, which is very difficult to do. He knows how that Ginetta works, and Matt gets the job done. But this is where the Ginetta is strong. He's had a great exit, has O'Reilly. Matt has to give him racing room. Up the inside goes, he thinks better of it, and Matt gets the position. O'Reilly can't allow him to disappear too far in the distance. He needs to pressurize him in running wide and making a mistake like that. And O'Reilly once again back on the rear wing of Duffin. Is he going to try and send it up into Ascari chicane? He's far enough behind him, but as soon as he gets out of the draft of the Mercedes, the Ginetta has no power. So now he's just going to have to sit in the slipstream of the Mercedes-Benz and then try and get him in the tight, twisty stuff once again. While these two have been scrapping, Clouden and Gary have caught up a little bit. Meanwhile, Susie's Cream still can't seem to find a way back on Tipping, who got Stardog, and who's that just behind them? I believe that's KLF. Yeah, KLF's had a pit stop, so he's obviously come in and put a repair on. And O'Reilly has stuck with Duffin. Gary Leach has just dropped off the back of Matthew Duffin and O'Reilly. But guys, get your votes in on driver of the day. But look at that, the Mercedes-Benz just drives away in a straight line. There's probably only one other car that could probably out-drag the Mercedes, and that is the BMW. Is very, very strong in a straight line. Oh, Gary makes a mistake further back onto the gravel, and that's pretty much his attack done on Clouden. But O'Reilly, he needs to be pitch perfect through this second sector. And through the chicane they go. Matt goes a little bit deep, runs a little bit wide, has to defend straight away. O'Reilly goes to the outside, tries to do it around the outside. He wants to get a better slingshot out of Lesmo 1, send it into Lesmo 2. He thinks about it, but he's not quite close enough. Gets on the grass ever so slightly, bouncing over the curb, and he makes a mistake, does Matthew. He runs wide. Here comes O'Reilly to the outside. Anything happened to these two, Clouden is in the box seat, but once again that Mercedes-Benz is so strong in a straight line, he manages to stay in front. O'Reilly looking to the inside of the Ascari chicane, trying to put Matt off ever so slightly, but he can't seem to make a mistake out of Duffin. He's probably going to have one more shot at this. But he needs to stay with that Mercedes-Benz. Get a good exit out of Parabolica. He has a fantastic run through Parabolica, and all he has to do is just sit on the back of that Mercedes.
Leaders on final lap.
Matt is on the final lap of this race. He's defending the inside. O'Reilly has to go to the outside. He's not got the straight line there. There's the Ginetta just hitting top speed now. I can't do anything. But that's the worst bit done. Matt's gone deep in the chicane now, and Riley's just there, right under the rear wing of the Mercedes-Benz. He's had a great run through the first corner. He's now going to try and send it on Duffin, possibly into turn number 2. The Ginetta will start to hit, and Matthew Duffin breaks a little bit early, catches O'Reilly out. And O'Reilly had to just get out of the toe a little bit, but he's had a great run through the second chicane. He's up the inside. O'Reilly has the momentum, and down the inside of Lesmo 1 he goes. Matthew's going to try and hold it strong. O'Reilly's going to run him wide. Matthew runs wide. O'Reilly still to the inside, and here comes Jamal Clouden as they're fighting, and O'Reilly gets the position. Matt has a wobble. Here comes Jamal Clouden, but he runs wide. He goes onto the gravel. O'Reilly has to defend the inside, going towards the Ascari chicane now. Matthew has to go to the outside and try and outbrake the Ginetta. Here comes the Chevy Camaro. Clouden doesn't want to be too close because he'll want to run at the two cars exiting the Ascari chicane. O'Reilly's done everything he can. Can he hang in there through Parabolica? Here comes Clouden. The top 3 fighting it out for the race win here. It's O'Reilly versus Duffin versus Clouden. O'Reilly needs to get a good exit out of Parabolica. Matt goes around the outside. He understeers. He runs wide. O'Reilly and Matt come together, and Clouden comes underneath. Jamal Clouden right at the end there steals the win from the 2. Jamal Clouden wins from Matthew Duffin, from O'Reilly in 3rd. Gary Leach in 4th. Darren Bell in 5th place position. Skunky in 6th place for him. Matt Wright will finish in 7th. Sam in the end will finish in P8. And Tipping is under pressure from Stardog. Stardog looking to the outside of Parabolica, but he runs wide. There's no grip out there, and Tipping is going to hang in there for a P9 position ahead of Stardog. 10th will go to Way of Suzy Cream. 12th is Old Sim Racer. KLF finishing 21st in the end. Lucas in 13th. Rolo will finish in 14th place position, ahead of Will Friedman in 15th place position. Rob Smith will finish in 16th. Not happened to Nuclear Waste at the end. Andy finishes in 23rd. Rob Smith comes home for 16th. Matthew Collins in 17th place position. Who Darren in 18th. DJ Phil is going to finish in 19th place position. Dan Taylor will finish in 20th. KLF in 21st. Nuclear Waste 22nd, and Andy in 23rd. But Jamal Clouden there just stealing the win right at the very end there. Matthew Duffin taking 2nd, and Kieran O'Reilly in 3rd place. Wow, what a finish indeed, Damien Hibbs there. It's been a brilliant fight, and between Matthew and Dan, a nice win from Jamal. Brilliant stuff from them right at the very end. It was fantastic to see, and Jamal Clouden steals the win, stopping Matt taking another race win, and O'Reilly as well. So another 3 different winners here this evening, and yeah, been fantastic to watch all of these guys in this one. And hopefully we can get at least Matthew and Jamal Clouden in the chat. And there we have Matthew Duffin, and we'll get Jamal Clouden in as well, hopefully in a few moments' time. But what a night's worth of racing. Monza has brought some dramatic racing here once again, and drivers pushing to the limits. This is just the GT4s. We've still got the Pro-Ams and the Pros to hit the track as well. And Yeah, it's gonna be a crazy week's worth of racing, and I believe the championship table has been updated, and it is Matthew Duffin still leading the way, and he has now broken that 100-point gap ahead of Will Friedman. Skunky in third, Jamal Cloud in fourth, O'Reilly now up into fifth. He's now going to be carrying weight from now on. Ian in sixth with seventh of the way of Who Darren. Eighth is Gary Leach. Ninth is Diz. 10th is Sam. 11th is Bell. Tipping in 12th, Andy in 13th, O'Reilly in 14th, Rob Smith in 15th, KLF 16th, Nuclear Way 17th, 18th is Stardog, 19th is Lucas, Matt Wright 20th, Dan Taylor 21st, DJ Phil 22nd, 23rd is Susie's Cream, Shane in 24th, M. Collins in 25th, Aurelio 26th, Sky Shonamar 27th, Goudet 28th, Pontin in 29th, John Andrews 30th, and Rushton in 31st, with Beasley in 32nd. Now, we do have the top two with us, and we'll start things off with Matthew Duffin. And Matt, from what little conversations we had before we went into the weekend, you were starting to get a little bit nervous about Monza with carrying the weight. Didn't really seem to be affecting you too much here.
No, I've done my research, Dan. I'm not going to lie to you. I've done a bit of research. I'm not going to go in too much on stream for others to hear, but I've done a bit of research throughout the week, and I kind of then realised that the Merc was actually going to be a lot better than we'd done. So I took some time to look at some work and some bits. And yeah, I thought the Merc, kind of looking at the Merc, I knew was going to be strong tonight, so I kind of calmed me down a bit, practiced the testing we do, obviously, without ballast. Pace was good. I was fantastic. I was a bit quicker than Clouden, which was, a bonus. But then obviously the 40 kilos I knew was going to go on, and we roughly worked out what you lose per 10 kilos. Knew I still had the pace to sort of come out and have some good results tonight.
Yeah, and obviously what definitely benefited you well tonight is definitely the Ginetta's weakest circuit. I started realising towards the end of it, it seemed to hit top speed by the time it got to the start-finish line anyway, so that was in your advantage.
Where pole position sits, Gary was saying in stream that's it. He's bouncing off the limiter. Where pole position sits, so that's where they were sort of done and couldn't find any more speed. And even in the slipstream, Gary was just, bouncing off his limiter, so wasn't getting anything. So yeah,
but nonetheless, the Ginettas were very strong in the second sector. O'Reilly especially would gain all that time he lost down the straight, all in that middle sector.
Well, that final race there, you just saw with O'Reilly. You saw it with him and Clouden. You saw it in race one when he was able to pull away. He ran something different to the other Ginettas tonight because he was quick. O'Reilly was really good, and we was matching for ages. And I think he had a couple of slides that got me onto the back of him with one good lap from myself, and that was it. And I got in front. Brake started to fade a little bit towards the end of that race, and he was able to get back up my inside at the first Lesmo. And then he got the run down, and I managed to get him into the final corner. He understeered wide into the side of me, which allowed Cloud and then up the inside to pass us both.
Overall, a great night's worth of race for yourself. You extend the championship lead by quite a hefty amount now. You've got 132 points ahead of Will Friedman, and heading into the next round of the championship, which is Snet, another circuit where there's a lot of straights, a lot of grunt needed. How are you going to feel going to Snet?
So I did the kind of same research for Snet already as I did for Monza. The Merc shouldn't be as good. So with that 40 kilograms, it's going to hurt me, I think, a little bit more at Snetterton. I'm not a big lover of Snetterton. I think it's one of Britain's worst circuits, if I'm going to be honest with you. But we go again. Look, we've got a good gap in the championship. Every race on the podium tonight, picked up a race win, picked up a pole and 3 fastest laps. So I can't argue with anything that I've done tonight. Can't argue with any performance from myself. Great to race O'Reilly. He was an absolute blast to race with. Clouden, as always, Gary. He gave it his all. I don't know what happened to Skunk and Friedman tonight, but it's a shame for them boys because we was, me and Friedman were speaking before the race and, hoping to have a good fight again, but not sure what happened to them. But yeah, Snetterton's going to be tough. I'm not a big fan of it. We'll try and make up down them straights, but yeah, I think the Merc's going to be a bit like the Lexus. It's going to be good down the straight, and then that's where we're going to sort of capitalise. But I don't think the Merc's going to be as good as the Lexus through the corners if you compare like to the GT3s. I think that's where I'm going to lose out a lot next week based on the research I've done. The Merc doesn't look great.
Well, you've only got one vote for Driver of the Day, so you're the only vote for Driver of the Day, so you get that from the fans as well.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, guys.
But congratulations to Matt, and we now move on to Jamal Clouden. And Clouden, obviously, coming into that third race, you're starting to get a little bit hot and flustered, starting to get a bit frustrated. Race 1, race 2 didn't come your way. And in the end, patience gave you a reward right at the end there, snatching the win from Matthew Duffin and O'Reilly. You must be thinking, wow, it must be your birthday for race 3.
First thing that popped to my mind, sorry, Matt, thank you, Mama, for the carrots. But nah, seriously, yeah, it's like you said, patience came into play. Although I was punching in like quality laps to try and close the gap down, I wasn't expecting anything. It was quite a surprise, but again, yeah, I'm just lost for words. I'm quite surprised.
Obviously, the Camaro looked relatively strong. Obviously, very strong in a straight line compared to the Ginettas and a few others as well. But the beauty, and obviously I've raced it myself, the beauty of the Camaro, it can ride curbs like no other vehicle in this game. And you were one of the drivers that were really abusing the curbs. Just talk about that. The car looked planted.
The car was just amazing all week. It's so planted. As like you say, you tap the curves and it just eats it. Like I was gaining so much time with how much curve I could take. I think that's where the strengths came into play for the Chevy for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, like I said, not the best start to the night. You get a win under your belt. We move to Snap, which is the next round. Another load of big curves. So obviously the Chevy should be quite strong there, and a lot of long straights. How are you feeling at the Snap?
To be honest, I'm not too sure. I haven't driven the Chevy around there yet. Again, I've driven around in like the McLaren AMG. It feels alright, but the Chevy, I'm not too sure. So we'll see.
Well, nonetheless, mate, congratulations on the win there, and best of luck on Thursday night in the Mercedes-Benz around this circuit.
Thank you very much, and congrats to Matt tonight.
And that is that from the GT4s. It's been a fascinating worth of racing. I'm actually going to give my driver of the day to Matt Wright in this race. He looked very good all night long. He stuck with the pace with the front runners, and it was a very solid drive. We knew Matt was going to be strong here. We knew, obviously, Clouden was also going to be strong in a straight line, and a few others as well. Kieran O'Reilly, another solid job from him, which we expect, but Matt Wright, for me, was driver of the day. Fantastic job from him. But for myself, it's a good night, and we look forward to seeing all the action once again tomorrow night in Pro-Am. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell to be notified. But from me and everyone else here at Simplay Motorsport, it is a good night.
If you're off stream, thank you.